A to Z Mysteries, Super Edition 3, White House Whiteout by Ron Roy. Chapter 7. Dink plunged down the bank toward the van, tripping and falling every few feet. He leaped over the smoldering fire like an Olympic hurdler. He ripped the van doors open. "Guys, wake up!" he yelled inside. The lumps under the blankets moved. "We have to get out of here," Dink said as moonlight shone on 4 sleepy faces. "They're coming to get us." "I was dreaming about cheeseburgers," Josh said, blinking at Dink. "Dream later," Dink said. Then he told them about seeing Joe Payne and some guy a few minutes earlier. "She did take Natasha with her, but your dog chewed the rope, Casey." He left out the part about coyotes prowling in the woods. "Natasha got away?" Casey said. "Yeah," Dink said. "But now they want you. They're going to lock you in some shack and ask the president for $2 million. We have to hide. They're coming back pretty soon." "Hide where?" Marshall asked. "I don't know anywhere," Dink said. "In the woods. Then after they bury the van, we can sneak back and dig our way into it." "I have a better idea," Casey said. "Let them put me in that shack. You 4 will get away, and you can tell the president where I am." "No way," Josh said. "We stick together." "Josh is right," Ruth Rose said. "Those people sound desperate. If we stay together, it's 5 against 2. "We're not leaving you," Dink said. Casey was outvoted. No way were her friends going to let her be stuck in a cold shack while they went home to hot chocolate and cookies. "He said he's bringing his plow," Dink said. "When we hear it coming, we'll slip into the woods, bring the blankets." "But won't they just follow our footsteps in the snow and come after us?" Marshall asked. "Not if we trick them," Dink said. "Let's all go out and make a lot of tracks, going in 5 different directions. Really trample the snow up all around the van. They won't know which way we went." The kids stomped all over the snow, making it impossible for anyone to see a trail. "Pick up branches for the fire," Josh told everyone. They came back to the fire and threw on whatever branches they'd found. Ruth Rose had stuffed her pockets with pine cones. They made a crackle as new flames shot up. The moonlight made the snow sparkle around them. "I think they're coming. Listen," Ruth Rose hissed. They heard a chug-chug. They all looked toward the road. "I see the plow's lights," Dink said. "Let's go and stay together." He led the others into the trees, all dragging their blankets. Soon they were hidden in shadows. Dink felt sure that Joe and the man she'd called Ace wouldn't be able to follow them. The kids moved as quietly as possible. Dink pointed toward a giant pine tree. The lowest branches of the tree were half buried in snow. "Under there," Dink whispered. He got down on his knees and forced himself between branches until he saw the tree's broad trunk. It was like being inside a hut. Dink had gotten sap all over his jacket and gloves. He tried getting rid of the stickiness by wiping it with snow. The 5 kids crouched and waited. They were able to see the plow's lights and hear the engine. Dink tried, but he couldn't see Joe Payne or Ace. The engine noises stopped. Minutes passed. Dink thought he heard shouting. Then the engine roared to life again. They all heard snow being moved and small trees snapping as they were crushed beneath the tires. "He's burying the van," Josh whispered in Dink's ear. In less than 5 minutes, the van had disappeared. The truck with the plow on the front made a clumsy turn and lumbered back up onto the road. The kids waited. When several minutes had passed, they crept out from beneath the pine branches. Did they try to kill us by burying the van?" Casey asked. No, Dink said. They must have looked for us in the van and found it empty. They must think we ran away. What will they do now? Ruth Rose asked. They don't have Natasha anymore, and they don't have Casey either. I don't know, Dink said. If they're smart, they'll disappear. Remember, we know their names and what Joe Payne looks like, and I saw Ace too. Do you really want us to dig a tunnel into the van? Josh asked. Dink checked his watch. The moon made it easy to see in the dark. I think that's the safest place for now, he said. It's almost 11:30. Tomorrow we can walk into town. I heard Ace say there's one a few miles down the road. In which direction? Ruth Rose asked. The road goes both ways, so which way do we walk? I don't know, Dink said. Maybe we... But what about Natasha? Casey asked. What if she comes back and we're not here? The other four stared at Casey. Dink thought they'd never see the dog again, but he wouldn't say so. You're right, Casey, Dink said. We wait for Natasha. Let's get busy digging. What do we use, our hands? Marshall asked. Yeah, and break off some tree branches, Dink said. Armed with broken branches, the kids approached the mound. Dead leaves, stones, and small trees were embedded in the snow. If Dink hadn't known better, he would have thought he was standing next to a huge, snow-covered boulder. How do we know where to dig? Ruth Rose asked. I mean, where are the van's rear doors? On this end, Dink said. Ace didn't move the van, he just covered it. The 5 kids began picking at the mound with their branches. They soon discovered that chunks of ice were beneath the surface. This made their work even harder than they thought it would be. When they came across sticks and branches, they tossed them into the fire, now nearly out again. After 15 minutes of hacking away at snow and ice, they'd only managed to remove 2 feet of the difficult snow. We need shovels, Josh said. You're right, Dink said. Why don't you send a text message to your local hardware store and order a few for us? Okay, give me your cell phone, Josh said. I'd give $1 million for a cell phone, Dink muttered. Keep digging. A half hour passed. They had created a cave. All 5 were in the cave, digging on their hands and knees. Guys, I think I hit the van, Marshall cried. They all began clawing wildly at the snow and ice with their hands, like 5 dogs digging in the sand. You're right, Dink said. It's the rear bumper. Suddenly they heard the roar of engines. A strong beam of light lit their snow cave. When they turned, the light blinded them. Dink backed out and stood up. He put up a hand to keep the bright lights from his eyes. He saw 2 snowmobiles parked next to the weakly burning fire. Dink swallowed. He felt his stomach lurch into a knot. A man sat on one of the snowmobiles. The other rider looked like a woman. Ace and Joe. They'd come back. Run! Dink screamed.